Hey everyone, it's Blue Blade Studios and welcome to episode 18 of Blue Blade's Christmas Cinema. For today's episode, it's the final one where we look at cartoons that have a Christmas episode, Volume 3. So, without further ado, let's get straight to it. So I want to start off with a really chaotic show, and that is The Amazing World of Gumball. Now, The Amazing World of Gumball is my all-time favorite Cartoon Network series ever. There's so many things I love about the show. I love how it uses so many different types of animations, from 2D, 3D, stop motion, puppets, live action. There's just so many things about it I absolutely love. So, we'll talk about the very first Christmas episode they did, which is called Christmas. It's Christmas time in Elmore, and the Wattersons hit some homeless guy. The kids believe that he is Santa Claus, and they try whatever they can to make him believe that, yeah, you are Santa Claus. And in the end, it turns out he is, but Richard is doing his own thing where he's trying to get on the nice list. It's just insane. Gumball is a show that is just insane in every way. So much happens in its 11-minute runtime. It really just makes you wonder, what did I even just watch? I love the Wattersons, all 5 of them, especially Richard. He is hilarious. It was a really good episode.
Hey everybody! Christmas is back on!
Now, Gumball is a very chaotic show. There's just so much that happens. But, you know what's even more chaotic than Gumball? Regular Show. Now, Regular Show is also another show that's very chaotic. I'm sure if you're a fan of it, you've seen memes of like Mordecai and Rigby are just going to order a pizza, and then all of a sudden Satan comes out of hell and he's going to rain an army across the earth, and it's up to them to stop it, and they say, dude, Benson's going to be so pissed. The episode I'm going to talk about is The Christmas Special, which shows Santa and this one elf fighting over this mysterious present. The elf shoots Santa, and he falls into the garage near the park where Mordecai, Rigby, and all the others live. Mordecai and Rigby find the present from Santa, and he tells them to destroy it. And then Mordecai and Rigby, along with Skips, Benson, Pops, Muscleman, and High Five Ghost, go on a journey to this mine so they can destroy the present. It's the ideal plot of a Regular Show episode. Something simple happens, like a Christmas party, but then they get warped into this world-bending thing that happens. It's just insane, but I love it. It's Regular Show. What do you expect? Everyone's just how you imagine them in this episode. They're all great. And I love the ending when Mordecai and Rigby are falling into the lava pit with the elf, and Trans-Siberian Orchestra's Carol of the Bells is playing, which is my personal favorite Christmas song. I saw that and I was like, hell yeah, that's awesome. Now let's go back to some more adult cartoons for this next one, and that's Futurama. Futurama was made by the same guys who did The Simpsons, and while I watched The Simpsons a lot, I never really watched Futurama. I know several things from it. I mean, I know some of the memes.
Plan. I'm going to jump!
No!
Do a flip!
But this was never a show that I actually really watched at all. But I decided to include it because, honestly, I kind of ran out of ideas. But that's not to say I didn't enjoy the episode I watched, which I watched Xmas Story. It's Xmas time in the future, and Fry is very upset about it, but Leela is even more upset because she's an orphan. So Fry decides to change his ways and go out of his way to buy her a present. Aside from that, Bender goes to a shelter for robots who need alcohol. It's honestly really funny. And then this giant robotic Santa Claus, voiced by John Goodman, is trying to kill them because he says that they have been very naughty. I gotta say, for someone who doesn't watch Futurama that much, I really did enjoy this episode. It was really funny. I do like Bender a lot. Joe DiMaggio is a really good voice actor for him. So, you know, he was my favorite part. If you like Futurama, you'll like this one. I don't really have too much to say about this one. And now, for the final cartoon that we're going to look at for this series, I'm going to go to something that's very near and dear to my heart, Thomas the Tank Engine. Now, when it comes to Thomas the Tank Engine, I watched this show so much growing up. I mainly watched the model era, but I also watched some of the CGI stuff as well, which some of it I do like. We're mainly going to talk about the model series episodes, and because of how short they are, with only being 4.5 minutes each, I'm going to mention 3 of them. So, let's get started. The first episode was Thomas's Christmas Party, which was the last episode of the first season. So the entire episode focuses on Thomas and his friends who want to give Mrs. Kindly a big Christmas party because she saved them from a landslide. They're making plans, but then they find out that bad weather has come and Mrs. Kindly is stranded in her home. Thomas, Toby, and Terrence go to clear her home. She then comes to Tidmouth Shed with them, and they have a big party. This is actually my favorite Thomas Christmas episode. I love the whole aesthetics of the first season. I just love the whole model era in general. And depending on who you watch with narration, both George Carlin and Ringo Starr are really good. I even like the fact that Sir Topham Hatt uses Lego in the end. So that's my favorite of the Christmas episodes, but the other ones are also good too. The second one is Thomas and the Missing Christmas Tree, which was the last episode of the second season. In this episode, the engines of Sodor are getting ready for the Christmas holidays, and Thomas is sent to get a Christmas tree. But bad weather hits, and he is buried under snow. He's rescued by Donald and Douglas, and eventually they have a big party at the end with Santa Claus there too. Now I really like this episode as well. A lot of the things I like about the first one, I like about this one. But I didn't watch this one as much. So the first one is the one I like more. But this one is also really good. The final episode is Thomas and Percy's Christmas Adventure, where Thomas and Percy are working in this small village, which is then just buried in a snowstorm. They get the help of Terrence and Harold, and eventually they clear the residents and free them from the snowstorm. Everyone goes home, but Toby goes to the village to get a little surprise for the engines. All the villagers get into Henrietta, they go to Tidmouth Shed, and completely decorate the shed from the inside and throw a big Christmas party as a thank you note to the engines. This was actually the one I watched the least, and I honestly don't have too much of an attachment to this one. But of course, it's Thomas. A lot of the things I said about the other ones I like about this one, and so therefore, I do like this episode. Now, if you lived in the US or North America like I do, then you might not have seen this episode as Thomas and Percy's Christmas Adventure, but rather Thomas and Percy's Mountain Adventure, in which it was a Thanksgiving episode. Aside from the whole thing of them changing certain pieces of dialogue to fit it, they also take out a scene where Thomas and Percy are talking about Santa Claus. Because of that, this episode is actually much shorter than all the other episodes. This is about 4 minutes and 15 seconds long, as opposed to 4 minutes and 30 seconds. But there are some versions of the US dub where, even though the dialogue is removed, the scene where they're talking about Santa Claus is still there. And so when it tells the part of Toby going to the village to pick up the villagers, the dialogue is completely out of sync. So unfortunately, what they're saying in dialogue is not being shown on screen, and is just very, very weird. But there are versions where this issue is fixed, and if you watch that, it's a good episode, but I like the Christmas version of it more. And that was episode 18 of Blue Blade's Christmas Cinema. We looked at The Amazing World of Gumball, Regular Show, Futurama, and Thomas the Tank Engine. What an interesting group. This will be the final episode where we look at Christmas episodes from some cartoons. The next episode is just going to be a regular movie, and all the others will be movies as well, or specials. But until then, this is Blue Blade Studios, signing off.